Today, we're talking about Glee. So I got into Glee like very recently, like last year. I'm recording this on New Year's Day, but 2024, I was getting into Glee with my girlfriend, and she was like telling me about it, and she said that she was a really big Glee fan. If this sounds like a familiar video to you, it's not, so don't even think about that. No. Eddie Burback made another video that's super similar and definitely inspired me to make this, because his story with Glee is super similar to mine, where he came into it and saw how fucking insane it is. And then decided to make a video on it. But he did it on the pilot episode, and I want to do it on the episode, season 5, episode 3, The Quarterback. Now, if you don't know about The Quarterback, let me put you on. What Eddie doesn't mention in his video, that there's a lot more lore to Glee outside of the show, especially the very dark parts of it, which are the deaths of the cast members, of the main cast members, them being Cory Monteith, Naya Rivera, and Mark Salling. 3 people died on that show, but only one died during the show, and it was Cory Monteith. Cory Monteith had a really troubled past, and troubled present at that time, I guess. Oh god. But yeah, he had a lot of drug problems, unfortunately. It's honestly pretty sad, because Glee, you gotta keep in mind, Glee was the biggest show in the world, or at least in America, for sure, back in like late 2000s, early 2010s. But Monteith had a lot of issues with this, and definitely obviously had problems with the sudden fame. He would get sober, he would relapse again, kind of giving like that dude from Friends, Matthew, what's his name, who also passed away recently from drug overdose. It's sad shit, to be honest. And also this whole episode and the whole concept is actually crazy. Like, this episode, they filmed the Gleeks figured it out on Reddit, but they filmed it like a month after he passed away. So everyone is in awful shape during this whole episode, and you can really see it. And I was interested in it because, so I'm like an acting student. I went to school for theater and stuff like that. So I learned a lot about acting techniques and stuff. And one of them was called sense memory. It's commonly called like the method or method acting. It was adopted from this guy, Lee Strasberg. And in theory, you should be able to pull the emotional circumstances from your own life, and you should be able to like feel what the characters are feeling if it's close to your life. The closer it is to your life, you know, the sort of better the scene will be. I couldn't help but think of that when I was watching The Quarterback, because this was like so direct. It was like, we are writing an episode about this character who died, and this person actually died in real life. And seeing the results in this episode was very interesting. Bad? No, I wouldn't say bad, but kind of had its good moments and also very questionable. That kind of sums up Glee as a show. Like, problematic, some very questionable moments. I also want to give you like some examples of Glee and just like how insane Glee is. So I've compiled a list of plot lines from the show. Kermit stickers. So keep in mind, everything, they are in high school. These characters are supposed to be high schoolers for most of the show. Losing your virginity to be a better actor. Getting your dad to marry a woman whose son you want to hook up with, to then have that boy call you a homophobic slur. A high school student fully having sex with the school nurse multiple times. A previously pregnant girl getting hit by a car and put into a wheelchair like one of the other characters so they could be wheelchair buddies. Then writers just forget the character and make her able to walk again. Casually leaking your lesbian sex tape without your girlfriend's consent to teach a lesson on how fame affects people. Sue marrying herself. Students thinking of their female coach so they wouldn't get too horny with their girlfriends who don't want to have sex with them. Will then kissing that character to make her feel beautiful. Will being another teacher, the teacher of the Glee Club. Mr. Schuester being half naked around the Glee Club kids in Rocky Horror to show off for another teacher that he wants to get with. The character in the wheelchair getting robot legs for Christmas just for them not to work. That same character getting chlamydia in college and spreading it to 2 people in an episode about STD awareness. Mercedes falling in love with a gay man. An infertile adult conspiring with a pregnant minor to take her baby and pretend that it's yours so you can lock your husband in a marriage. Your husband is that girl's Glee teacher. And then this the whole childbirth interposed with Jonathan Groff singing Bohemian Rhapsody. So this is the show that we're dealing with, guys. This is Ryan Murphy's magnum opus. So, oh yeah, I also want to talk about like the actors like talking about going through this. Kevin McHale specifically. Kevin McHale's great. He's like the dude in the wheelchair, Artie, the guy in the wheelchair who got the robot legs. He talks about Glee all the time and his experience with the cast member. He's pretty candid about it. And he talked about this episode and how difficult it was. Yeah, I mean, it sounded really hard, obviously, and everyone was breaking down crying, cast and crew included. And he talked about how it was honestly pretty difficult to play a lot of the scenes because it's not realistic to how the characters would act. Like, characters would be in denial. It just didn't feel like it was realistic, a realistic way to deal with grief. And I also want to say, Ryan Murphy, what the fuck? What the fuck is up with this guy? He also talks about, trying to create some beautiful scenes with this recent tragedy. So this is a weird episode, borders on exploitative, problematic, but has some good moments. So that's pretty much it. So we're starting off pretty hot with what straight out the gates with Season of Love from Rent. It's a good song. It's classic. Honestly, this is pretty nice. It has like all the characters come out and sing for Cory Monteith. It also has a nice little, tribute projection of him in his football uniform. And it's pretty nice, They could have just done this and it would have been fine and just done a normal episode maybe. And it would have been maybe a little less problematic. But they decided they have to have a full tribute episode talking about Cory Monteith's death, or Finn's death in the show. Notably in this scene, and we'll notice that Lea Michele is not here. Good to know, Lea Michele is dating Cory Monteith in real life at this time. So she is fucking, you'll see later, she is fucked up, dude. Like, it is bad watching her. I mean, Lea Michele has her own problems, has her own stuff going on, but you can tell she is a broken woman in this, which honestly is tragic. All right, let's keep going. So we're on this scene. So basically, we got Kurt Hummel going through and sort of talking about what happened. Finn passed away, and that everyone's really sad about it. He also talks about, sort of has a meta moment, and talks about the decision to not talk about how Finn died in the show, which is kind of an interesting choice that Ryan Murphy decided to make because they don't ever talk about how Finn actually dies. The character Finn, as opposed to the real life guy, Cory Monteith.
Everyone wants to talk about how he died too, but who cares? One moment in his whole life. I care more about how he lived, and anyone who has a problem with that should remember that he was my brother.
Okay, and then also we have some unsavory jokes made by Sue.
How can you even joke at a time like this?
Take it easy, post-op Michael Chiklis. I'm grieving. And I grieve by insulting those who mean the most to me.
That's Sue Sylvester, Jane Lynch, arguably the best parts of the show. I would argue that her character's reaction is the most realistic in terms of grieving. And Jane Lynch wants to move on, get past everything. All right, and then we're back in the choir room. Finn, baby. It's all about Finn. Finn has died. Everyone is very real depression. Yeah, and then Mercedes drops a nice, fun song. But the only problem is it's the song that Finn sang when his child was born. But the child wasn't his child. It's his friend's child, Puck. It's a whole thing.
I remember Finn telling me that he sang this song to his baby sonogram. Well, he thought it was his baby.
Huh? Arguably pretty weird to be singing this song after he fucking died. So we're starting off in a very interesting place. And then we get this is going to be a theme throughout the whole episode, but we have the full group singing together, like a full choir singing together. And everyone looks so depressed, like they do not want to be there. It will every time the camera flips back to the full choir singing back up for the lead singer. They just look so sad, which is sad. All right, it's getting weird, y'all. It's getting weird. So the plot line basically is that someone steals a tree meant to commemorate Finn. It is obviously Puckerman. I always forget his first name. They only call him by his last name. But yeah, he steals a tree, and he is obsessed with Finn after he dies. Which I guess is kind of a normal reaction, but like... Mark Salling... Let's say Mark Salling would not be allowed through the halls of Cell Block 1. Let's say that.
Hey Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to Cell Block 1.
Another cast member who killed himself after being discovered with many gigabytes of of cheese pizza? Is that what they say on the internet? Yeah. But yeah, he killed himself before he could go to prison. So yeah, pretty dark. But so this actor, he really is struggling. I mean, he struggles with this. Because his character is arguably the least realistic reaction. Okay, and now it's time for the best. I think this is the best scene, at least acting wise. But it's like the parents are packing the stuff in Finn's room. Super fucking sad. I mean, this is like a very real thing. But Kurt technically is Finn's stepbrother because their parents got married. Because, as I said earlier, Kurt tried to set himself up with Finn because he had a little crush on him in like season 1 or season 2. But now their parents are together, and so they're stepbrothers. So weird, also weird. That used to be into his stepbrother. This scene is really well acted. Every actor kills it in this. Especially Kurt's dad. I forget the actor's name, but he's really great. Just talks about simple stuff like, I wish I gave him more hugs before he passed away. I was always just giving him like pats on the back and stuff like that. Kurt takes Finn's jacket. This will be important for later. Has another heartbreaking line. It's like, every time I come in, he's like Superman.
Seeing him come to the hallway wearing this, it's like Superman had arrived.
Even watching the scene now, it's like getting me a little emotional. Like, damn. You could tell he really thought that. That's good acting. That's good, like quote unquote method acting. Whenever he came into the room, he was like Superman. He probably actually thought that about Cory Monteith. You can feel the real emotional, weight with that. That's a good line, Ryan Murphy. Some of your other lines, maybe not as good, but that line was good. And she talks about, being a parent and losing your kid. It's like you can't even breathe. It's like your whole life's taken away from you. Fucking killer, dude. Gives a great performance. Let's move on, because this is just kind of a bummer. Okay, next scene. Yeah, so they're like hanging out by the dumpster, and this weird conversation happens between Puck and Kurt. Puck really wants the jacket. Puck is very obsessed with keeping Finn's stuff. It's very strange. It doesn't really make sense, and most people aren't really like that in real life. And then we have that, and they sing Fire and Rain by James Taylor. And yes, we see even more of the chorus singing, the depressed chorus singing. And this is fine. And Santana leaves. Okay, Santana's Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera's awesome. She also passed away, as I mentioned earlier, after the show was finished. I can tell she really struggled filming this, and that was kind of well documented. She'll have some scenes later where she has some freakouts. And oh my god, I want to point this out in this episode. Like the non-main cast members, like this side character girl, you can just tell how uncomfortable they feel making these saying these problematic ass lines to these people whose like family member just died, basically. Because the cast and crew, they've been together. Oh shit. The cast and crew have been together for like a while now at this point. Cory Monteith passing away is almost like a family member passing away at that point. So, with these like side characters who were like just introduced a couple episodes ago, you can tell they feel so awkward. Yeah, and they do this weird, crazy stuff, like blowing out the candles, taking down this thing. We find out Sue's behind it, of course. Her Cheerios or her cheerleader girls taking down the tribute to Finn Hudson in the hallways. And Naya Rivera is very pissed off about it. And they definitely get into it. And then she's like, that's assault? This is assault. And then she pushes Sue.
Assaults are assault. No, this is assault.
I personally don't think that's realistic. On to Tina Cohen Chang. Okay, here's the character. All right. This character makes me mad. They do Tina so dirty throughout this show. Me and my girlfriend talk about it a lot. Tina's the Asian girl, the one character who's Asian. There's also Harry Shum Jr., who gets some lines too, but he doesn't really get that much character development. Tina at least gets more screen time and like talks more. The only thing that she has to say about Finn, her friend dying, she's like sick of being goth Tina, which was like the Tina that she was before. She's like sick of dressing in a particular way because it reminds her of how she used to dress.
I just don't know how much longer I can wear black. I feel like this look is so Tina 2 years ago. And I spent so much time transitioning away from goth. And look at me, it's like I'm back in that look.
Then Emma, this fucking terrible school counselor, just gives her like tells her to fuck off basically, and then she talks to Will Schuester. Okay, the problematic cringe center of Glee. He dances around children very suggestively, and also the actor himself, William Morrison, is very cringe. Unfortunately, and he has some problems this episode too with the acting. Because his whole thing is he's supposed to be like compartmentalizing. He's like, I'm trying to be good for the kids. And it just comes off as so unrealistic. It just doesn't seem realistic to him, to his character. I feel like he would be more emotional because he's been emotional about other stupider shit. And then we're on to this scene.
If I start crying, I don't think I'll ever stop.
He just starts throwing things around. He's just so mad. Like, what's going on? The acting is so terrible. Oh my god, I would feel bad about making fun of his acting, but like I can't because it's Mark Salling and he is a PDF file. So I kind of don't feel bad. His crying looks like he just ate like a fucking ghost pepper or something. This lady Beast tries to carry the scene. Coach Beast. It's just weird and awkward all around. You can tell the actors are having a tough time with this scene. And I should say, oftentimes like everything was like one take, then we're moving on to the next thing because it's just too painful to film. But yeah, she like tells him that now we gotta go on without our quarterback.
I'm sorry, but it's time you gotta be your own quarterback.
It's like, okay. And now Naya Rivera singing. All right, this might be the most famous scene, arguably, from this. She kills it. She sings really well. All the chorus watching her, being depressed. Yeah, she sings When I Die Young. Pretty iconic performance. And she starts freaking out. Like, bro, look at her, bro. It's so bad. You can tell she's having like an actual, like, oh boy. Okay, and she screams and runs away. Apparently that was her real reaction to filming that. It was like, I can't do this. And she runs off. Like, okay, I'll get into it. Okay, acting teacher. I was in acting school. And, shit goes down in acting classes, y'all. Like, when people try to get the emotions out of you, your teacher tries to get the emotions out of you, oftentimes like traumatizing, terrible things will come up. It's happened to me. I've seen it happen to a bunch of classmates, and you can just tell when it's happening. When it's like, ooh, this is going beyond the scene. This is going beyond the monologue in the scene, and this is about something else. I can tell just by her physical, like how she's physically, like her like grabbing her throat and stuff like that. Dude, that's bad. That is a person actually freaking out, and we have captured it on camera for the world to see and to show them. Also, this person has passed away, so problematic. You decide. I think it might be a little bit. And then we get to this scene. They talk about how Finn was always really nice to Santana. And then, okay, important part, Kurt gives her the jacket. We're coming back to the jacket again and again. All right, on to the next scene.
Well, we busted out of class.
Just the Bruce Springsteen impression. Okay, I'm being a bit of a critic, but I do not like how it's a weird position, how he's saying no. He's like, no, surrender. No, surrender. It just bothers me. I've watched this video a lot. It just bothers me, Okay, moving on from that. She comes in, Santana comes in, and she's like, where the fuck? The jacket's gone, oh my god. Who took it? It's obviously Puckerman. Matthew Morrison, okay, super weird. I don't know why he talks like this, because, spoiler, Mr. Schuester has the jacket. But just what he says to Puck is like not comforting at all. He's like,
I swear, I didn't swipe the jacket, Mr.
I understand
Schu.
wanting the jacket, Puck. I'm not saying that you took it.
I didn't.
But if you did, all I'm gonna say is that all of us want some piece of Finn to keep close to us.
Bruh.
Sue and Santana have a conversation. I would say this is also some pretty good, solid acting. You know, in an episode about someone who's dying, you don't have to be like breaking down, crying every single scene. You know, you can talk about it in a very real way. It comes out very naturally. You can tell Jane Lynch she's super experienced, an old pro. Okay, onto drumsticks, and finally we see her. We see Leah Michelle, and she looks. Dude, when Leah Michelle joins us, it goes off the rails. It's so bad. So she's like, okay, so Leah Michelle, also known as, oh, I forgot a character's name. Rachel Berry. So she's like the ultimate theater kid. And she is also the ultimate theater kid in real life. And you can tell, you know, she's always performative, always puts it on. That's kind of why she got the part. Man, this thin veneer of theater person is like torn down with this. You can also tell there's a lot of, it kind of happens with the other singing too, but she is like breaking down crying during this. And you can tell that the dub does not match.
I could make you happy, make your dreams come true.
The voiceover dub does not match her lips at all. She's like trembling, crying while she's singing, and it sounds perfect. That's not how it would sound if she was actually singing it. It's so bad, bro. They were gonna get married, bro. It just feels fucked up. Okay, then I'm gonna get a real cry in the audience. Gotta get it on camera. Real cry. Darren Criss is actually crying. Let's get it on camera. It just feels kind of gross. I don't know, man. Another weird scene with Beast. It's root beer, not actual beer. I don't know. They decided to have a character moment with Puckerman, and it's like, I'm gonna join the army. That's what's happening with my character. Do we need to have that in this episode? I don't know. Do we need to have character moments in this episode? That's a tribute episode. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like Mark Salling anytime he's on screen, but we had this last little conversation. Rachel, I mean, yeah, you can tell she's just like super masking. Masking, I don't know, acting term, but masking is like really trying to cover up how you actually feel, which I guess is how she feels in real life, but it's more like she's masking to finish this scene because she doesn't want to film it anymore. Weird camera pan to hand touch there. I don't know why they shot it like that. And then they're like, okay, cry. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Ryan Murphy's in the booth. He's like, all right, Leah, time to cry now. And she's like, okay, I can do that because I'm so depressed right now, because my husband died. Or my fiance died. She brings in a little framed picture that he puts up in the choir room. It says some nice stuff. The show must go all over the place or something. Honestly, that's pretty nice. And then finally, we get to Schuster. He's at his house. Because we all care about how Will Schuster feels. Guess what? He has the jacket. Oh my god. Oh my god. And he's breaking down crying. And we all definitely care about that. Cory Monteith, 1982-2013. Yeah, rest in peace to Cory Monteith. But yeah, I mean, that's Glee, dude. It's insane that they even made it. Like, why? I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird to have all these character moments based off of what happens. You know, these are the things that kind of happen in TV sometimes when you're a lead actor. One of your lead actors either dies or something really bad happens to them. They get canceled, whatever. And then the show has to write around it. And this is one of those rare moments where it's like, damn, everyone was sad when Cory passed away. And like, this is it's really messed up. Now, can I say that they handled it perfectly? No. Definitely some problematic moments. Just the choices that they made overall were just problematic in his Ryan Murphy way. I mean, in the Glee way of Ryan Murphy. And notably, we should mention that Ryan Murphy regrets this episode. In some podcasts, Ryan Murphy talks about that. Because he thinks that it was way too soon after Cory passed away. I think that's probably correct. They just filmed it way too soon. Like, dude, it's a month after this dude passed away. You are still grieving heavily at that point. And yeah, and to bring up the acting part of it, you know, method acting gives you varying results, I think. Some scenes were really killer, some scenes were not as much. And the actors really had trouble with how the character was reacting because it didn't feel realistic, even though they're grieving about the person in their own life. But yeah, I just feel bad for the whole cast and crew. Like, they just feel so... Actors having meltdowns. We had crew members leaving too, like not being able to handle it. It's Glee, man. I think this episode really sums up Glee. Like, this is how they react to something like this. Problematic, all over the place, sometimes really good. sometimes, like, what the fuck? But yeah, that's Glee. A little introduction. Maybe you'll get interested in it. I don't know. Yeah, this episode was fun to film. Like, comment, subscribe, interact with this post. Don't listen to Jordan Peterson. That's it. Thank you for watching.